Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Dishealthy Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello, good sir. Do you know why this is a glorious Thursday here on the podcast?
Because we're back.
And also because it is a free country where you can go out and get your vaccine to save you from life-threatening illnesses, people.
Yes, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think 2 Fridays ago, I got my my COVID booster and my flu vaccine.
That's what I got yesterday, and I'm feeling a little bit blue today, but to me, it's well worth it to ward off potentially much worse side effects of the COVID or the full-fledged flu.
Indubitably. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to take just a quick second and thank everyone who popped in to say hello to me during the extra live stream. This past Saturday, I streamed from 2 a.m. To 2 a.m. Saturday to 2 a.m. Sunday, or actually 1:59 on Sunday, because I was not going to get caught in the daylight savings trap.
Well, you have in the past.
Yes, I have in the past. However, I didn't have a basketball game that I was actually playing in 8 hours later.
That's a fair reason.
So,
Although,
Well, I was just going to say that, I had set a goal of $300 this year, which was $25 more than I raised last year. And I'm happy to report that Ultra Confusion raised $405. I don't know where the 5 comes in, but woo, $405 for Ultra Confusion. The 11th year straight. Also, if you follow Extra Life social media, I have given them permission to use my picture. I don't know if they'll actually use it, but they have my permission to use it. So there's that.
That is a pretty epic number.
Yeah.
I wish I had better words.
But here's the funny thing about the Extra Life experience. This is the one really weird thing was, what's up, Chip? There was only one issue that kept happening in the chat room, and I'd have to get out of the game to basically reset the chat. Apparently, if you're streaming for long enough on YouTube, you'll get the sex website bots will start commenting in your chat room. So I had to keep not again. Pop out.
Is that to keep the audience or the streamer entertained after so many hours of gameplay? It's like, you know what, this guy probably needs a little pick me up, if you know what I mean.
No.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No. I don't know.
Now the games. I mean, I did end up playing a lot of Mordor, Shadows of War. I did dip my toe into the water with a couple other games, such as I finished off Dead Space early in the morning. I played a little Alice Madness Returns. I played a little of a game called Ender Lilies, which was pretty cool. Played some Axiom Verge. Played for a very short moment a new game called Ghost Song. And then while I was eating my my meal, because here's a fun fact, when Charlie starts gaming or when Charlie gets focused on stuff on the computer, he tends to forget meals. So during my meal that day, I don't know, basically just throw breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. I played Slay the Spire, since I didn't have to have a controller in my hand to play that game.
Shadows of Mordor, or both the Mordor games, they truly stress me out. Those, especially you start fighting the bosses, there's just something about that game. No, it's truly a life or death. Because most games, you die, it's you just redo the boss over, same difficulty and everything. But if you ever played Shadows of Mordor, you know if you die to bosses, they actually get harder, and
yes.
Other bosses can potentially get harder. So for me, that's even more so than a game oh gosh, but the True Sweaty Palm game.
What, like Demon Souls?
Yeah, Souls.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily get harder. But Mordor stresses me out because not if, but when you're gonna die, it actually gets harder. So
yes,
yeah,
it does. If you lose to an already, what do they call it? Basically a leader. Um, they gain a level. If you die to like a regular grunt, they get elevated to leader status and get like extra stuff. And I've put some serious hours into Shadow of War, and yeah, it's the only thing that really pisses me off is there's like a siege option where you get to a certain point where you have to capture the region, so you have to capture the citadel or the fortress, and if you get all the way to the end to basically kill the overlord and then die, you got to do the entire siege all over again, and he's like basically refilled his ranks.
yeah, and like I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people like when I was facing him or like any of like the leaders, like I try to whittle away all of his minions first. So it wasn't like 30 on one; it was only 4 on one.
I will
And
tell
that
you.
could
I
take
will.
some time.
I will tell you this: when you run into an overlord who has the skill of, I think it's called Dead Eye or something like that, where he's a ranged attack that cannot miss, and he has a cursed weapon, which basically drains all of your other stuff. You're screwed.
Yeah, there's some nasty combinations. Especially like one of the things I always love doing is like jumping over enemies to like basically hit them from the behind when they had shields. But if you do it too many times, they start like learning. They actually like adapt to your offense. So we start being like, "Oh, it's Arlo."
Hey, Arlo.
I agree. Yes, you should go fight the big bad boss too.
He's just walking around by my feet, so he had to say hello. No,
But yeah, like you face those bosses and they learn and they start countering what your normal tactic is.
yeah, you can
You're
no
like,
longer vault over them. They
Yeah.
basically anti-vault. Like, great,
that's the
fantastic.
worst. Like, bastard.
Yeah.
I don't know how to attack you now.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know where I am in the game in like in terms of Shadows of War, but it's entertaining. It definitely, I could definitely go through a couple waves of enemies and feel good about myself after I just destroyed everybody.
I feel it's a very easy time sink game. Like
Yes.
before you know it, like hours have passed.
Oh God, yes.
Just the way and then it's in a good way. It's not like in a negative way. It's just the way the maps are laid out, and like, yeah, it could definitely be a very time-consuming type of game to play. But I enjoyed it.
And once you get up to like level 20, so you've got enough skill points into different things, that's when you could just start like poning like waves and waves of monsters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is. I don't think we actually did the intro here. This is the Thursday Hangout. It's a live show where we try our best to cover the topics most important to you. If you haven't given us your topic, your suggestion or subject, or maybe you just have a question for us, all you got to do is drop it into the chat. We will add it to this show. If we do run out of time, we'll add it to the very next show. And oh, by the way, I am your host, Charlie, and that is Zealeus, the prolific commenter himself. All right. Let's get in. I'm going to grab some of the topics from last week since I tried in vain to do a little bit of a show and it went because we didn't have the amazing prolific commenter himself, Zealeus, here. So we're going to try with a couple of topics from last week. And the first topic that we have to talk about, and this is a big one in both of our minds, is the fact that Geralt of Rivia is leaving after the upcoming season of The Witcher.
Are you trying to make me angry? I was in a good mood. I was happy. Like, life is going good. And then you just go and remind me of why I hate things.
Yes. So Henry Cavill is signed on to become Superman again, so he will no longer be Geralt. They're sending a replacement in the form of Liam Hemsworth. And Zealeus and I talked about this off air and maybe on Discord as well. But here is my brilliant idea. Geralt goes off on an adventure in another Witcher, because the Witcher is actually, the Witchers are an organization, okay? You just have another Witcher take his place, Liam Hemsworth. Do not recast Geralt. That will not go well in my mind.
No, I heard, and the thing is, because if you have not watched it, I mean, he is Geralt.
Yeah.
Like his physique, his mannerisms, the way he's just like, oh, fuck. Like
he knows more than most of the writers on The Witcher.
And he just embodied who everyone saw Geralt is once he started acting.
Yeah.
And you're not going to exceed that. And I have no issues with Liam Hemsworth's acting.
No.
But it's just replacing somebody that iconic
that fits so well.
It did it so well.
Yeah.
And the problem is inevitably season 4, that's all anyone's going to talk about. It doesn't matter. In theory, he could actually be better than Cavill.
Right.
But people are still going to only talk about
the fact that he's not Cavill.
He's not Cavill. It's all anybody's going to say.
Yeah.
Whereas I think you're right. I think if we just replaced him with another Witcher, Geralt's out on an adventure somewhere else, saving somebody else, then people are okay, cool. We're going to get another adventure of another Witcher. People will be totally cool with that.
Just so you know, there is Vesemir, there's Letho, there's Lambert, there's Eskel, there's Erland, and there's George. Just to name a couple of Witchers that are out there.
I mean, they could literally just make one up, and people would probably honestly be pretty cool with it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Or maybe there's another island of Witchers that we just don't know about. I mean, they could go a lot of routes.
There was a Witcher that was made in secret back in the day.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
I mean, but actually replacing Geralt, I just don't see how that's going to go over well.
Yep.
I'm very skeptical. I'll still watch it, not gonna lie, because I love The Witcher. I will say season 1 was definitely better than season 2, in my opinion. So I'm interested to see where season 3 goes. Now, of course, the other scuttlebutt as far as why he left is because one of the reasons we like Cavill's The Witcher is because he's a true fan of the genre and games and nerdsm and geekism, all encompassing.
Yep.
And there had always been rumors of him pushing against the writers. Some of them basically came out right. We're like, yeah, we hate the original story of The Witcher. And so there's also, yes, I know Superman's a part of it, but there's also the rumors of he also got tired of fighting the man, basically. And he's like, this is getting too far from what the original vision of The Witcher is. Yep. So I'm just going to leave it instead of it becoming something I don't want to put my name to. So that's the other thing. So I guess that makes it even more curious to me of where's The Witcher going to go without Cavill being there as kind of let's kind of rein some of these things in. Because what I'm hoping it doesn't become is another CW show of soap opera loves. Because as much as I love my CW crap, The Witcher is not CW. Yep. And so that's what I also don't want to happen is it go down that route, which unfortunately is inevitably where a lot of shows go, is kind of the path well trodden, which I don't think is what we all want to see again for the Hunter of Simon, another TV show.
Speaking of which, apparently there's a couple of shows on the CW chopping block that are.
I think The Flash is finished this year or next year, and that's basically the end of Arrowverse, as far as I know, because they canceled the little girl, Stargirl, I think, or something. I'm probably thinking of the boys.
My understanding was was it Lois and Clark might be on the chopping block, and the Winchesters, I think, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's kind of sad. I mean, because you used to have Sci-Fi with all their stuff. You had a ton of great shows.
Sci-Fi, though, well, I should say Comcast, the owners of Sci-Fi, they had a 5-season limit.
And then you got to the CW verse, which, love it or take it. It still kind of gave you that outlet if you wanted it. But now it's really between kind of the death of the original programming for both Sci-Fi and CW. You're almost just basically left with Disney Plus.
Yeah. Speaking of Disney Plus, dear God, how many freaking new shows are they going to do? There's rumors that there's an Indiana Jones show in the mix. There's apparently another Star Wars coming to Disney Plus. I mean, good Lord.
I'm making up for last time and trying to get that catalog, what they feel like is on par with Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu and all those.
And of course, speaking of Netflix, this news did break, I think, 2 weeks ago. But the fact of the matter is, there will finally, they have finally said that there will be a second season of Sandman.
Which I know you're super excited about.
I am very excited about it because I love the graphic novels and I love the show. This is one of the shows that my wife and I really got into, and we've been dying to see where the next, chapter would lead us. And now we have confirmation that there will indeed be a next chapter.
I just started watching season 2 of Warrior Nun tonight.
I just started watching The Inside Man on Netflix.
It's always, that's a tricky proposition with any of these television shows. So it's like, will there be another season? Amazon Prime, you already know there's going to be another season of Ring of Power.
Yep.
But then you have the new one that just came out about where they enter basically the mine terminal.
Peripheral.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember. It's, oh God, now you're going to, it's like hold on, I'll pull it up.
And will that have a season 2? And I've started watching that. I'm enjoying it. But that's always the tricky proposition with any of these shows. Will there be more of them? Or even perpetually in that, 1 or 2 season state. Although I do feel like Amazon Prime, from what I've seen, does a pretty good job of picking up their shows. They did it with, my mind is not working tonight.
The Peripheral, that's what it is.
The Peripheral.
Yeah.
There's the 2 shows with the spy guys. My mind is just not working for the titles of them. One, they've already done season 3 renew. The other season 2 renewal. Hannah, they did 4 seasons and they actually had a finale.
Yep.
So from what I've seen, Amazon Prime, when they pick a television series, Netflix almost just throws stuff at the wall. Let's see if it sticks. Whereas Amazon Prime seems a little bit more.
Jack Ryan,
yes, that's one of them. Jack Ryan's one of them, but then there's also the one that came out.
Reacher.
Either early, what?
Reacher.
Yes, thank you. Yep. See the 2 spy guy movies, and both of those we already know another season is coming. What I'll say is all those shows they deserved another season. They were all good shows.
Right.
So I'm happy to see that. I think the Peripheral is interesting. Where I think Peripheral might have a harder time is Jack Ryan and Reacher were pretty straightforward shows. I know they have oh no, the mystery of who did it and stuff. But as far as American television goes, there's nothing too complicated about it. Versus the Peripheral, it's more much more like a Westworld in terms of being ooh, the AI and what's going on.
Yes,
so that's true. To see if Peripheral has enough viewership.
Yeah. Now, speaking of all the streaming services, I have to bring up the fact that it has been confirmed Studio Ghibli and Lucasfilm are coming together to make something for Disney Plus, which to me, I'm basically like this. Here's my wallet. Take whatever you need for me to see this.
You already have Disney Plus, don't you?
Yes, I know, but I will pay more. Look, I love Studio Ghibli. I've got not all of their movies, but I have a shit ton of them, and I have made my children watch several of them a bajillion times. Porco Rosso, Castle in the Sky, Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, to name a few.
You didn't have in-depth discussions about the effect of mankind on nature and our symbiotic relationship.
We are not watching Princess Mononoke. They are too young for Princess Mononoke. Oh, my God.
Fair enough.
But that's in there. I've got Sky. Was it something of the wind? The Cat Returns.
In the Name of the Wind? You're too young for that.
Niskaya?
You said something about the wind. I was just joking. In the Name of the Wind.
Yeah, I mean, The Cat Returns is a great one. It's kind of goofy, but yeah, I've and there's also a movie that's very Ghibli like called Mary and the Witch's Flower, which I highly recommend as well because it's basically in the same vein. Oh, and Kiki's Delivery Service. Jesus, I can't believe I forgot that one. Anyways,
There are quite a few Kikis at DragonCon.
that does not surprise me. It's an easy costume to do, and it stands out. That's the other thing. Now, let us talk about. Let's give an update about something. We talked about a convention event gone wrong. There was there of course was a convention in San Diego, California called TwitchCon. They Intel and Lenovo had a foam pit where you could battle American Gladiator style, and then once you fall off your pedestal, you would fall into these foam blocks. Now, it turns out that the foam blocks that pool of foam blocks was not deep at all. It was basically to your shin. And there was a prominent streamer who, as I've since learned, is also an adult film actress. But she was there and got severely injured when she decided to jump up in the air to do kind of like one of those, I don't know what the hell they're called, but they basically throw her legs out to the side, kind of like cheerleader moves. And when she came down, it appears that she not only when she fell, she went into the pit, but apparently part of her body actually hit the floor and just missed all the foam completely. And so she had to have 2 back surgeries to repair. She is still in serious amounts of pain. She's having lots and lots of physical therapy. And it also turns out that at the time of her admission into the hospital, she had tested as being pregnant, and she had to abort the child because of all the surgeries.
Sheesh.
So let's just say there is a big ass lawsuit that is rumbling down the lane.
Yeah, I just feel bad for her. I mean, that's like every possible thing that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Went wrong, yeah.
And then not even know you're pregnant and lose that pregnancy. I mean, that's.
I mean, yeah. Got to be careful. And life is a cruel mistress. But hopefully she gets basically the world and more back for what was done to her, which I know she can't possibly get everything back, but she deserves a hell of a lot of something. That's all I have to say about that. All right. Speaking of, well, not Twitch, but of a social media platform, let's talk about this weird-ass thing that's happening on Twitter right now. First of all, if you make fun of Elon Musk, your account gets suspended. But in a weird little twist, if you pay, I think it's $7.99 a month, you could get one of those fancy blue stickers to put next to your name, which of course was usually you're like the certified, this is the real deal. And so what we've seen is a bunch of trolls pay that $7.99 and then create fake Valve, Nintendo, and Twitch accounts, just to name a couple, and basically just spout utter nonsense. And they're just running rampant right now. I'm trying to remember. I think the Nintendo one has Mario flipping the bird to everybody. But let me see if I could find there was a great. I'm trying to see if I could find the exact tweet. Yeah, if you so the name that shows up for this certified Nintendo account is Nintendo of America, but if you actually look at the username, it is Nintendoofus, and it's got Mario flipping the bird.
Clearly, the verification is going very well.
Well, no. You don't have to do verification. Just if you pay that $70.99, you basically get carte blanche.
Yep.
There's somebody. What was the one that was really close? There's someone masquerading as Valve. Like I said, their actual username is Valve Software. So the T and the F are swapped, and they're basically revealing games that don't actually exist to the public to get everybody, up in arms. But I'll say this right now. If you're have any type of like marketing strategy on Twitch, jump to another platform now. Because dear God, it's not worth it.
I'm actually going to be amused if Twitter goes the way of like MySpace, where, I mean, we're old enough, or you and I don't know about everybody else on the show, old enough to remember when MySpace was the top of the, social media world. And like, that's what we had, 20, 25 years ago. And now it's but a footnote in the history of the internet.
It's now like for your garage band web fan page.
I remember it used to have music that would come on MySpace like you went to it. I remember I had LA Styles, James Brown is Dead just blaring in your ears when you went to mine.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, this is.
But like that's where I see this going, and I'm just gonna laugh if Elon Musk purchasing of Twitter flames out. Basically, like MySpace, it becomes the pariah of, like Facebook's dying just because nobody cares, but like I feel like Twitter's getting hit because of all the woo. Like if you just bought it and didn't do anything, nobody would actually care.
Yeah.
Like that's like really if you just bought it and just like, oh well, that was a dumb purchase. You'll just do your thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh well, life goes on. Once somebody goes and like fires 75% of the workforce. And yeah.
Okay, so I mean, since the whole Elon Musk thing, at least two prominent celebrities have been banned or suspended from Twitter because they did a parody of Elon Musk. One was the actress Sarah Silverman. The other one was Harry Potter himself. Daniel Radcliffe has also been suspended for making a parody comment about Elon Musk. And Weird Al Yankovic came out and was like, dude, it's a parody. It's satire. Grow a pair.
Yeah. But I thought it was the platform of free speech. Why is he banning people?
Yeah, that's the funny thing is like just before he started banning everyone for making fun of him, he's like, I want free speech. I want everyone to say what they want to say. And some of his people were like, Elon Musk is a doofus. Oh, okay. And stop.
But again, like most things, like it's the Streisand effect.
Yeah.
Where again, people mocking him or saying like he's a doofus. Like if you didn't ban him, I wouldn't even honestly know it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like or a meme or whatever it is. But it's only because he's bringing light to it.
Yeah, he's bringing attention to it.
Not even know that he's being impersonated.
Yeah.
And the impersonators would have been like, oh, well, that didn't get any attention. I'll just go back to being normal again a day later.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's what's kind of like just so stupid. Just if you let it go,
like, does he realize what the attention span of the internet dwellers are? It's literally like 3 minutes.
As long as you keep saying stop it, people are going to continue to pay attention. If you're like, okay, fine, whatever, and then let it go, yeah, there's going to be some late stragglers that are going to be goofy and make fun, and it might get that tweet or whatever gets shared a couple thousand times, but it's going to die fast.
Oh, yeah. That's the nature. I mean, that's always been the nature of news. I mean, that's why it had what's called the top of the fold in the New York Times is Anything below that, people just glazed over and forget by tomorrow news cycle. That's
Yep.
Story as old as time as far as news goes. Um, yeah, I just kind of sit back and just laugh at it all. My problem is like Twitter never really made like I get what it is, but like the whole like how you tweet back and the replies just never worked with my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I just never got into Twitter. Just like from a functionality perspective, I'm like, just don't get it. I guess it's a little bit of get off my lawn. I don't feel like learning new things, but
Yeah. So I do want to pause just for a second. I want to thank our amazing friends of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be a friend of the show, of course, you could join our Patreon. But before I go into the details on how to join Patreon, let me tell you about the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indiecluster.com. That's INDIECLUSTER.com. The next shout out we have to give is to Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Tran, Noodle Boy Media, previously White Kid 47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/doodleboymedia today.
Noodleboy!
The next shout out is to someone who I probably need to call because 24 hours of gaming straight does leave a crick in the neck, and that, of course, is Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore, the company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They are committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. For more information, go to herochiropractic.com. Now, as everyone knows, the next one deals with this next one definitely helped us out in a tight pinch when our non-copyrighted music became copyrighted all of a sudden. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about CrossPad Creative. Need a new logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy? Or maybe you need music or audio for your content, just like All to Confusion? CrossPad Creative offers a whole host of solutions for individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com and see what he can do for you.
Yes.
And the final shout out we have to give is to our longest, patron, and that, of course, is Agile Axiom. By day, Axe leads both a development team and a system administration team working on satellites at NASA's Goddard campus. But while not in meetings, and many times during, he is the Agile evangelist Agile Axe, championing the philosophy of Agile and trying to make the world a better place for software developers, testers, system admins, and software projects the world over. Decades of experience in software development and leading agile teams are brought to bear against evil processes, inefficient work, and bad habits. For more information, go to agileaxiom.com. That's AGILEAXIOM.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you are dying to know, how do I become a friend of the show? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that All to Confusion has a Patreon. And I, of course, give me 1 second because I accidentally closed the wrong document.
No.
Ultra Confusion survives the love and support of fans like you, and so we have a Patreon page. Patreon lets you, the fans, lovers, haters, aliens, demigods, gods, interdimensional beings, otherworldly beings, elder gods, and much more, of course, and supporters, to become active participants in the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. Ladies and gentlemen, we have not one, but 2 tiers that you can become a part of. Each one of these is a monthly membership. So the first one is the $1 tier. That's $1 a month or $12 a year. And what that will get you is early access to all of the playthroughs that Ultra Confusion posts online, as well as the ability to take part in patron-only posts that could revolve around polls and much more to help shape the future of Ultra Confusion. Now, of course, if you're feeling a little bit more frisky and you do want to become a friend of the show, there is a $5 a month or $60 a year tier, which not only gives you everything at the $1 tier, but also gets your name or organization added to our thank you section for every single Thursday night hangout. So if you're interested, go to patreon.com/altered confusion. Patreon is spelled Patreon.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we are past this next part, but I do want to, there is still time to donate, so I'm still going to give the shout out to the fact that Ultra Confusion is proud to have been a part of Extra Life for 11 straight years. Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best, game, to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network Hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life goes directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the biggest impact in the lives of the kids they treat. So if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Altered Confusion. All right. Kind of mumbled through a couple of those, but that's okay. All right, so there is some serious toxicity that is happening in a certain game that has been very, I guess, anticipated, and now some people are kind of iffy on it, though some people have been iffy on it, especially Zealeus, because it doesn't have the PvE that was promised, and that, of course, is Overwatch 2. Now, there was a suggestion by an individual of the video game press that said that to easily stem some of the heavier toxicity, they need that Blizzard needs to ban the use of the word or term Diff, D-I-F-F. And so, Zealeus, I want you to explain that a little bit more for me.
So basically what Diff means, so what happens is you'll have like a match and say like you got 2 tanks, because right now there's only 1 tank, but they're super powered. And so they basically are carrying the matches based on who your tank is. And what people will say is like tank Diff. And basically it's kind of like trolling, but not trolling. Basically saying our tank is better than yours because they're different, which means it's better. And I want to yell them to get off my damn lawn because they're using these newfangled terms. But basically that's what it means, is we're better than you. And it's usually not like I'm better than you. It's usually like my experience was always like this person on my team was better than your person on the team. So it's looked at as a way of trolling because you're basically directly calling out that role's counterpart. And that's where toxicity comes in, which to me is dumb, stupid, pointless. It serves absolutely no stability around when it comes to toxicity. By trying to ban the word diff, like I have no idea what that would actually solve, because let's be honest, toxic people are going to be toxic. If you want to ban toxicity, do what Final Fantasy 14 does and basically ban global chat. That's honestly the only solution I've seen to really, and even then, of course, you still get it in certain ways because every online game is going to get it. But I'm convinced that's one of the reasons 14 has such little toxicity is because they ban global chat. So you eliminate that low hanging fruit of people just being stupid on the internet. Like people are stupid on Twitter. And so it's like, no, it would not solve anything. And we've all played online games. I mean, there's a reason I don't play MOBAs anymore. It's because the toxicity was just, it sucked all the fun out of the game. And I'll say my experience mostly with Overwatch 1, because I have not played Overwatch 2, was pretty positive as far as toxicity goes. I mean, there's always, it was going to happen. I mean, every online game is going to have it, but by and large, it wasn't as bad to me, at least, as in a MOBA. But no, banning the word diff. I mean, people are going to do all kinds of things. DIFF or D1FF, DI44. Like, I mean, you can do diff in so many different ways. And then it just becomes a stupid game of how can you type diff to still troll the enemy. Really, the problem right now with Overwatch is everything I've seen is basically the player base hates the game. That's honestly what it comes down to. Well, let me rephrase that. So there was one of our favorite board game creators, Craig Campbell, has a saying where you have the vocal minority. And that's very much what you have, especially in the forums like the Reddit and the Blizzard forums. It's the vocal minority where, like, you know, you have these like thousands of upvoted boasts of how it's terrible with the battle pass system and it doesn't respect your time and all these other things. But if you actually look at the numbers from what I've seen, guess what? Blizzard's still making money off of Overwatch 2.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, yes, the vocal players probably hate the battle pass system, but for better or for worse, that's free-to-play games. I mean, Destiny 2 has it. Apex Legends has it. They all have this battle pass system of some sort. And I don't play a lot of them. I know people are like, oh, Overwatch 2 is just the worst of them. I can't really say either way. But that's just the nature of free-to-play games nowadays. And it's how they get around gambling, whatever you want to call it, with the loot boxes. Because remember, you don't have loot boxes like Overwatch 1. And so basically like, oh, okay, you don't want gambling in the form of loot boxes. We'll just actually make it, in my opinion, from everything I've read, financially less incentivized to actually do stuff because it's actually so much more of FOMO or fear of missing out. Because it used to be at the loot boxes, you would just basically get tokens to open them up from levels, whatever.
Yep.
If you don't play, you don't play. If you play, you play. Whereas battle pass systems create the worst case scenario of FOMO, where if you don't play, like I think the Pat League is like, what, 60 days, if I remember off the top of my head. So if you purchase a battle pass during that 60 days, you now feel like you have to play during those 60 days, or you like wasted your money by not fully unlocking all the battle pass perks. It's like a bad version of pay to play MMOs like Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft is how I look at battle pass systems. And I know the counterpoint obviously is, well, you can still play for free, which I get. So I hate battle pass systems, but I know a lot of people actually prefer battle pass systems.
Sorry, I had a piece of chocolate staring at me, and so I'm eating it. So,
and I do think, like, after a season or two, kind of like if Elon Musk had just said nothing about Twitter, people would just get over it. I think, honestly, it's going to be the same thing in Overwatch 2. Give it, the new year, and honestly, the boards will settle down, and it'll just be back to business as normal. I really think at some point, it's going to get, because from what I've seen, the game itself is good gameplay. Like, under all the battle pass shenanigans, like, the gameplay is solid from everything I've read. So I think once people get over it, it's going to get back to business as normal. And I would say probably the other advantage from a battle pass system is it's easier to bring in the whales than the loot box system. So Yeah.
I do want to point out, speaking of free-to-play games, one of the games that Zealeus and I played many, many years ago, and we still, give a shout-out to this company every once in a while, or the creators of the game, that, of course, being Smite. Hi-Res Studios, but though Hi-Res is now like 3 different companies, depending on which game you're playing. But November 15th, there is going to be a Smite and old school RuneScape crossover. So you can see like the RuneScape characters, all that, the polygons and whatever. There's going to be skins for all of the Smite, a bunch of the Smite characters, RuneScape style. So I got to give that shout out real quick. So it looks, it looks cool. It looks terrible because, very low polys back in the old RuneScape days, but still pretty interesting idea.
Oh, look, Smite has a battle pass system too.
Yeah, absolutely. God, they've had it for a while.
How many gods does this game even have?
I don't know. There's a number in my head that I know is wrong. I want to say 108, but that can't be right.
Jeez, that's nuts.
How many gods are in Smite? Oh, I'm sorry. 108 is too low a number. It's 123.
You're so behind the times, man.
Haha, gosh darn it. Man, it shows you how long it's been since I played the game. Oh, God. So there was a question that was asked of me, and I want to bring it up. And that is, in your opinion or in your gaming experience, has there been like a card game or a board game or some sort of game that basically started as an analog game, like, a board game, so physically moving pieces around, or a card game, physically having the cards in your hand, etc., that has benefited from going digital, in your opinion? And do you need to think for a second, Zealeus? Because I've got one right off the top of my head.
I'll let you go first.
The easiest one for me, I know this is going to sound, and this is, it is a game. Well, I guess on a cell phone it's a game, but basically crosswords, where, I can't tell you how many times like I try to do a crossword and then have to like erase shit in life. Or you've also got a bunch of those crossword games out there, or applications out there, that once you got the word right, it highlights it and locks it in. So you don't have to second guess about that shit, and you could just move on to the next part of that crossword.
See, my difference is like I hate Sudoku on the phone. Like I'm one of those who has to like on the the game book has to like write out possible combinations for the squares and then kind of process of elimination as you play it. So for me, I could definitely see crossword puzzles. I get that. But to me, I would say that like the reverse would be Sudoku, where actually I prefer the pen and pencil format of that.
To be honest with you, I think if done right, let me emphasize that. If done right, the vast majority of collectible card games is kind of a godsend on the digital platform, because having two children who at random will buy like card packs of Pokemon, haven't played Pokemon, and then get really depressed when they misplace that card. Whereas the digital, it's saved in your deck. Yes, you can't hold it in your hand. However, it's not like I'm going to magically lose. I'm trying to think of a Legends of Runeterra card. Let's say, wow, why can't I not think of? Come on, Charlie, Jinx. Jesus.
Yep.
Oh my God, I misplaced my Jinx card.
I would assume the monetization. I mean, because obviously before it's digital, you still had like, Magic the Gathering, you had Pokemon, so you still had very popular CCG games in an analog format. But I would assume from a financial perspective that having the digital version in addition to that now only like exploded the potential income for these companies. Would be my assumption.
Yeah, no. I mean, having both those streams of revenue. However, I will go on the record and tell you that the Pokemon collectible card game digital version of it is absolute shit. Because literally, those cards are too wordy, and so like, and it's not like they take the text and then put it in another window. It's still it's literally like someone just scanned in the card, and you could try your best to zoom in to read the text as best as possible.
I'll say one industry that had really benefited was poker.
Yes.
I mean, you think about like poker back in the day before it really goes back to the World Series of Poker with Chris Moneymaker. Mm-hmm. I still remember because back in the day, I mean, this would have been probably early 2000s, late 90s. I remember my dad and I would watch World Series of Poker on ESPN.
Yep.
And watching it, and you'd have all the pros like Daniel Negreanu.
Who's the guy with the lizard glasses?
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Phil Hellmuth, who's the angry guy. So you have these like well-known guys, and all of a sudden Chris Moneymaker, who won it from the online game, came in and won a couple $1 million at the World Series of Poker that year, really opened the floodgates for all of a sudden like anybody to just play poker on the PC, which also opened up the whole wild world of, is this legal because it's gambling and it's not regulated, and are you playing against actual humans? Are you playing against bots?
Yep.
It was this whole very gray, like if you had money like in your World Series of Poker wallet, would you actually be able to get it out because it wasn't actually like hosted in America because legal?
Yeah.
So it was this whole, I mean, it was a crazy ride there for a couple of years.
Greg Raymer.
There you go. Yeah, Jesus Chris Ferguson was another guy. Yeah, you had some characters. Yeah, we used to watch that all the time. Remember, they were showing Game Show Network with the cash World Series of Poker games.
Yep.
Where the guys would come in with like $1 million, $2 million as their entry fee of like actual cash, not just, chips.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so I would say that's one, I'll call it sport for the context of this. I'd say it's one sport that really benefited from the analog to digital, but it still is just as effective. Like, I wouldn't say the game itself, like the gameplay, benefited from digital. I actually still much prefer the analog version of poker. I prefer being able to play, like seeing the cards, seeing my opponent, like how are they, betting. I still prefer the analog, but it's almost like CCG games in a little bit where, especially as an older, it can be hard to get together and play, get 5 of your buddies together to play a game of poker, or getting, people together to play who are evenly matched to play like Magic or Pokemon, where like one doesn't far out in your current generations, where the rules are. So I'd say that the digital ecosystem for these card games also kind of leveled that playing field a lot, where all of a sudden all those kind of minutia details don't really, they still matter, but like the developer just handles it when you play the game now. Like you don't have to think about that stuff. It just kind of magically happens.
Right. To be honest with you, I think that one of the things that COVID potentially allowed was for a lot of companies to maybe dip their toes into these games that were, very in person, like, board games and card games. And if done right, that they could make that amazing leap. One of the things, and to be honest with you, it's a very challenging thing to take on, is you've got a lot of like amazing board games out there, but the rule set is insane. And I know that Zealeus and I keep going back to our favorite. How long did we read the rule book? Like 4 hours?
That morning, yeah.
What was the name of the game again?
Twilight Imperium.
Twilight Imperium. If a game was done right, where you didn't have to guess at the rules, that could potentially be fun. Because like I said, I will fully admit I have a shit ton of board games that I've bought that seem like that people have talked up, seem really interesting, but I don't have the the number of people to actually play them. And if I did, it would be like I would have to take. We would all have to take a week off to like, examine the rules and really break it down, and then we would still need like a seasoned veteran to maybe interpret some of the finer details so that we could actually get the most out of the game.
Yeah, one place I haven't got to it actually, but there are some websites that actually do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of them is Board Game Association. Whoa, my video just freaked out. Board Game Arena, where that's exactly what they do. They have like online games, board games online, like Carcassonne, Seven Wonders, some pretty popular ones that you can play online. Actually, no one that's actually has a good module is Ticket to Ride. Not through them, but through the there's a Steam version of Ticket to Ride.
Oh yeah, I've got the. I don't know if I have the Steam version, but I have the one for the iPad, which is phenomenal.
That's great. It's the perfect like airplane game.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
So yeah, it's like you're right because there are the one I'm still waiting to come to like an official board game site is Descent.
Descent. Ooh, there's a game I haven't heard in a while.
I really enjoyed it, but again, it's one of those where like modules can take hours, but the modules continue, and you have like various quests and campaigns, so it can continue on. It's like Hero Quest, but advanced. Yeah. So that's one that I've been trying to find online for a while now, but there doesn't seem to be like any official version of it, basically.
I would love. I know that there's been a lot of like games based off of this, but I would love to truly be able to sink my teeth into like a real Arkham horror.
Ooh. But again, yeah, part of that is definitely the complexity of the rule set and getting that somehow into an online version. It can definitely be difficult.
Yes. Very much so. So, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any other ones. One game that this, and I've seen a lot of like clones of it is Risk. Does really well as, on the PC.
Yes, I've definitely heard that.
Yeah. So.
I never really got into Risk though. Just, yeah. I don't know. Didn't do it
I tried a couple times with the actual board game, but there's always someone that accidentally bumped the board and then your pieces are on countries they're not supposed to be on, or now you can't remember what your distribution is, and you're just like, no, I'm good.
Although I will never play Monopoly. That's one game I just refuse.
Well, like I'm still learning like some of like the nuances of Monopoly, and so yeah, no, I will not play Monopoly. I'll play Monopoly Junior, and I'll be the banker, and I will palm whatever the currency is to make sure that I win every single time. What?
See, my theory is I only play board games with people I enjoy being around.
Yep.
If I enjoy being around you, I don't play Monopoly because I don't want to end up hating you.
Yes. Monopoly is definitely the game that will end friendships or relationships, period.
Or my wife.
That too. Zealeus, is there any games you've been playing at least recently?
I've mostly been playing Torchlight Infinite. Has been my choice du jour lately.
Aha.
I definitely think it plays better on the PC than the mobile, which is ironic because it's really a mobile port for the PC.
Yes.
But it just, with especially like the target skills, like they're not bad on the tablet. It actually works well. It just feels better on the PC, just like most action RPGs. I mean, I wouldn't say the Torchlight on the iPad or the iPhone's bad.
Yeah.
I just like it better on the PC.
Yeah.
So I'm still playing that. I don't even know what level I'm up to. The interesting thing about Torchlight Infinite is like you're OP'd from like level 1.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Because there's always the issue where like if you're OP'd from level 1, like at a certain point, what's the incentive
Right.
for grinding for more if you're not going to be like, instead of two-shotting everything, do I now like look at the, do they just die when I spawn now, basically?
Or just run
So,
away.
yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, so that's kind of my thing. I'm like, everyone's already dying in 1 or 2 shots now, and I'm like level 30. So I'm still not quite sure. Like, it's a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure the longevity of it necessarily.
So I recently, on a whim, bought a new Switch game, more for the kids than for me. But I will fully admit that when the kids are playing, I'm definitely all in. And that is, you remember that crazy Nintendo console that everyone was thinking, oh, this is weird. It's got a terrible name. Who wants to play with one another's Wiis? There's a game on there called Wii Sports, which came with almost every single Wii. Well, Nintendo has now come out with Nintendo Switch Sports.
Oh.
So it's basically the Switch version of it. It utilizes those little Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Highly recommend that you strap that bad boy, put the little safety thing on there because, man, those things could fly if you're not careful. But it has, I'm trying to remember all of the games that it has. It definitely has tennis, has soccer, which you really need to have like this leg strap for soccer to work. But it's got volleyball, badminton, and of course, bowling. And
wait, did you say tennis?
Yes, I said tennis.
Okay, good.
Yes, tennis.
That's like my favorite one.
Yeah, no. It's got tennis, bowling. Oh, it also has the sword play feature from the Wii Sports Resort. And then it's got soccer, volleyball, and badminton. There is a rumor, or actually, I guess a promise that the Wii Golf functionality will be added later this year. But I have to say that I am loving the bowling.
I remember you would like bowl from the bathroom.
I'd be in another room and just like, yeah, because my condo, when we had a Wii sports party, and I'd have to like run upstairs into the office or the bedroom and grab something, and like, Charlie, it's your turn. I'm like, swoosh, strike, ha ha ha. Yes. So
Nice.
I highly recommend that if you have the Switch, and you definitely have those little straps to anchor the Joy-Cons to you. If you liked Wii Sports, you're gonna like this. So
I also, because you did mention it, I also did get Slay the Spire. Again, I tried another Rogue, and the roguelites just don't do it for me.
Well, which I think you have to beat it with 3 of them to unlock the fourth one, the fourth character, or do you have access to all 4 right off the bat?
No, you only have access to one off the bat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
The warrior, probably? I don't remember.
Yeah, the sword guy.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
yeah.
You only have access to one of them to start with.
Yeah, you got a sword guy, then you got a knife-throwing guy, then you got like the broken robot, and then you have the weird blind chick who could change like elements and stuff, which it gets really complicated.
Yeah, so I tried another roguelite. I'm like, nope, still don't like roguelites.
No.
It's just not my game. It's just not my genre, I should say, except for Hades.
Yeah. Well, so
that I can get into.
Speaking of games, so like a bunch of the games that I played for the Extra Life thing were like Metroidvania games. I played Ender Lilies, Axiom Verge, Ghost
Didn't
Song.
Axiom Verge last year?
Huh?
You've played that before.
What?
Axiom Verge.
Oh yeah, dude. The Axiom Verge is. I've played that I play that every once in a while. I also play Sundered from time to time. But Ender Lilies is a newer game, and so is Ghost Song. And a lot of people are talking, up about how awesome Ghost Song is. I have to tell it to you straight. I really didn't. The reason why I played Axiom Verge, I actually started installing Axiom Verge while I was playing Ghost Song because I was just like I see what you're trying to do, but it's just not hitting right. I don't know what it is. I mean, I put some serious. Once again, I put some serious hours into Axiom Verge, and started from the beginning and got about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way through the game before I swapped over for Middle-earth: Shadow of War. So
yeah, that's the way it goes. Until you play, you just don't know, man.
Though I will have to say that I did. I am a little disappointed that I didn't actually get some FTL in. I had it. Literally, I've on my desktop. I have a block of games that I was like, okay, I'll probably play these. Dead Space, the original Dead Space, Alice Madness Returns, Ender Lilies, Axiom Verge, FTL, Ghost Song, Slay Spire, what's that? Cursed to Golf, which I don't know why I didn't play that either, but whatever. But yeah. Oh, and Dimension Drive.
So did Dead Space sufficiently scare you a second time around?
I think that because of the fact that that Dead Space originally came out in 2008, and this is literally the 2008 version, that I just, I will fully admit that there were 3 instances where the jump scare got me. But most of the time, it was just me getting frustrated because I ran out of ammunition. Because I was like, oh my God, you son of a bitch. But then, the final boss, I took him out like it was nothing. And it wasn't like I powered, I was OP'd or whatever. Literally, I had just bought all new ammo beforehand because some of these regular enemies were just sucking up all my ammo. And then maybe it just clicked on the final fight. I don't know, but
your thing is, it sounds like rose-tinted glasses, where you played the one, so it was a glorious experience, but sometimes it's just not the same the second time through.
I just think because I've played I think it's because I've played so many other spooky, scary games that it isn't as spooky, scary as it was back then. I still fully plan on getting the remastered remake of Dead Space. And I'll play through the whole damn game again. I really don't have an issue. And just because I think that, I will get that spooky factor back. I think that the sands of time and what you could not do with the graphics really hurts, trying to get the same level of scare 14 years later.
Now, let's assume that they are hopefully leaving the lights on, and they're not all I bet these new generation gamers would actually prefer if all the lights were on and they actually see what's going on.
I will find the person who makes that decision and punch him in the nuts, or metaphorical nuts.
A matchup between CSGO, Overwatch 2, and Smite with the lights on. It's going to be great, guys.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Please, God, no. Please, God, no. But yeah, no. No.
No.
I was tempted to get Alan Wake on the Switch, but a lot of people are like, it's like Alan Wake on the Wii, which I'm not exactly sure what the hell that means because Alan Wake never actually came out on the Wii. But
I would assume they mean graphics-wise, if it was, in terms of it being a generation old or two generations old.
But still, Alan Wake originally came out. I mean, it's not a new game. Alan Wake originally came out in, where the hell did it come out? No, that's, oh, good grief. It pulled up the second one. I'm like, 2023, that's not right. 2010. So it's the 12-year-old game. So whatever.
Well, supposedly in the next month or two, supposedly December 9th,
Yep.
the next gen upgrade to Witcher 3 is coming.
Yep.
We haven't actually heard anything about it, so I'll be interested to see if it's going to happen. Like, I mean, we've heard about it, but then it's been like radio silence. And you think it was like actually coming, there'd be some kind of like, it's coming.
Oh, it better. That's all I have
Who
to say.
knows?
It better.
Who knows? That's actually, I never actually played like all the Witchers like through. I really should do that.
I have played all 3 all the way through, and I to be honest, like I think I've said this before, the first Witcher was the most risque out of them all because it's more that European type of feel where they're now, all the it was, there's pretty naked ladies in the first one, and it kind of, those pretty naked ladies kind of started getting further and further to the background with each iteration of The Witcher. But
I can see that.
Still, it's a phenomenal series. Both the games and now the Netflix series. So, can't complain. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have reached the end of our show. So, I would like to take this time to thank everyone for tuning into the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving you our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. Will be back next Thursday for another Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.